Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Dike. I am from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik, and I have been given an opportunity to give a lecture in the certificate course of vermitechnology. So what I will be dealing today with is biotransformation. So these are the papers that you are seeing here which have been used for preparation of these lectures. So if you want any more information about this particular lecture, you can take the information from these two reviews. So these are reviews. So let's begin. So in the previous lectures, what you have learned is what is vermitechnology, right? So use of earthworms in the process of say biodegradation or forming the vermicompost or formation of compost is referred to as the vermitechnology. And we have also learned about what kind of species are useful for the process of vermiculture or formation of vermicompost. Now, in today's lecture, what I will be talking about is the process of biotransformation and also the use of this particular process, which is biotransformation, in the vermitechnology, or how the vermicompost is formed using this particular process. So let's begin. So that is what I said, what is biotransformation and its importance in vermitechnology will be taught to you today. Now let's begin with this particular process. What is biotransformation? So basically, when we talk about biotransformation, it is a process by which a substance changes from one chemical form to another. Here the transformation is occurring. Now this has to happen inside the body of the organism, right? Then only then and only then we can refer to it as a biotransformation. So there exist certain chemicals, there are going to exist certain nutrients which may not be available for the organisms or to the soil for in a particular form. Those have to be transformed into some forms which are easily available to other organisms such as plants or say microbes or other animals for their consumption. Such a process is referred to as biotransformation. And very mandatory thing for it is that it should happen inside the body of the organism. म्हणजे काय असतं की कधी कधी नायट्रोजन असतो, फॉस्फरस असतो सॉइल मध्ये जो इझिली अवेलेबल होत नाही. तर अशा केस मध्ये बायो ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन जे आहे तर कुठलाही ऑर्गॅनिझम, नॉट जस्ट अर्थवर्म, ओके, कुठलाही ऑर्गॅनिझम असेल त्याच्या बॉडी मध्ये जेव्हा त्याचं ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन होतं. आता हे ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन कशामुळे होतं तर हे ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन होतं एक तर बॉडीमध्ये जो ऑर्गॅनिझम बायो ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन घडून आणतोय किंवा ज्याच्या बॉडीमध्ये हे होतंय त्या ऑर्गॅनिझम्सच्या बॉडीमधले एन्झाईम्स आणि दुसरं म्हणजे गट मायक्रोबायोटा. आता गट म्हणजे काय? Gut is going to be referred to as the digestive system of that particular organism. अन्ननलिका आपण ज्याला म्हणतो, that we call it as a gut. So it is going to start from the mouth and it is going to end to the ends. So all these parts are going to have some kind of microbiota. What is microbiota? सूक्ष्मजीव ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, बॅक्टेरिया वगैरे जे असतात की जे ब्रेकडाऊनच्या प्रोसेस मध्ये हेल्पफुल असतात. This is referred to as microbiota. So with the help of microbiota of the gut and along with certain enzymes that are present inside the body of any organism, it is going to bring about biotransformation, right? Now this process of biotransformation is also referred to as metabolism or say metabolic transformation. And these are all the synonymous terms frequently used for the term biotransformation. So let's move ahead. We'll see what is the relation. Okay, so basically soil and earthworm are going to be closely related. They are very in close association. एक गोष्ट लक्षात घ्यायची की this relation is going to be a mutual kind of relation. What is mutual kind of relation? We all know that it is beneficial to both the entities, not organisms. Both the soil will also be benefited and earthworm will also be benefited in this kind of relation. म्हणजे दोघांनाही फायदा होणार आहे. सॉइलला पण त्याचं टेक्स्चर इम्प्रूव्ह होणार आहे, त्याची परमिएबिलिटी इम्प्रूव्ह होणार आहे, त्याची क्वालिटी इम्प्रूव्ह होणार आहे अर्थवर्मच्या प्रेझेन्समुळे किंवा मायक्रोब्सच्या प्रेझेन्समुळे. And the earthworm earthworm in turn is going to get its microbiota. Now, you need to understand one thing is that in the gut of the earthworm, it basically lacks certain enzymes for digestion. Okay, those enzymes will be given, or those things, the digestion of those things will be brought about by these microorganisms, right? Moreover, the soil is going to be the house for the earthworm. So it is going to provide it the space for living, the space for reproduction, it is going to provide it with the food. So soil is going to give all these things to it, and in turn the earthworm is going to give it is going to improve the quality of the soil. Now, we need to understand that the earthworms are considered as ecosystem engineers. Okay, why we call them as ecosystem engineers, we'll see it in the next few slides. Okay, we'll first talk about Drilosphere over here. Now, what is a Drilosphere? The Drilosphere, see, basically when earthworms are living inside the soil, there is going to be a layer of soil which will be under the direct influence of the earthworms. Okay, now this layer which is under the direct influence of the earthworm is referred to as the Drilosphere. Now, basically how is the Drilosphere formed? It has been written over here, how is the Drilosphere formed? Basically, it comprises of all the things that are contributed by the earthworm in that particular layer of soil. So these contribution can be in the form of middens, it can be in the form of burrows, it can be in the form of tunnels, or it can be in the form of cast. Whatever is there, mucus कधी कधी दिला जातं, कधी कधी cast म्हणजे काय असतं की excreta of earthworm is referred to as a cast. Whatever undigested food material is given out, excretory material is given out, or the nitrogenous waste is given out, it will be referred to as the cast. Right? आणि टनल्स आणि burrows म्हणजे काय असतात की जेव्हा earthworm move करतो तो obviously it is going to create a space. Okay, so these spaces are किंवा ह्या ज्या spaces तयार झालेल्या असतात त्याला आपण burrows म्हणतो. Okay, so this particular layer which is rich in earthworm castings and a lot of contribution is being made by the earthworm community, such a layer is referred to as the Drilosphere. Now let's move ahead. Again we will talk about the use of this biotransformation that is going to occur inside the body of the earthworm in the vermitechnology. Actually what happens over here is that this particular aspect of biotransformation has been exploited for the process of vermitechnology. So again here there is a reference called as the earthworms are referred to as allogenic engineers or physical engineers. Now why do we call them as engineers is because you need to understand. First thing is that they are creating they're creating a habitat for other organisms. They are not only surviving, they are not doing it on purpose. Even if they are not doing it on purpose, at least they are creating it. First thing is that habitat कोणाकोणासाठी तयार होतं? एक प्लांट साठी होतं. का प्लांट साठी? कारण सॉइल ची जी क्वालिटी आहे ती इंप्रूव्ह होणार आहे. त्याच्यानंतर नायट्रोजन मिळणार आहे प्लांट्सना, फॉस्फरस मिळणार आहे प्लांट्सना. का? कारण यांनी ब्रेकडाउन केलेलं आहे. ऑर्गॅनिक ह्युमस मिळणार आहे प्लांट्सना. दुसरं म्हणजे earthworms are going to stimulate or form the microbial communities that are present inside the soil and also in their gut, right? So because they are making a habitat for other organisms, they are referred to as engineers. Now you need to understand what is allogenic engineers. Same thing. There are going to be certain chemicals, or not chemicals as such, there are going to be certain minerals, there are going to be certain organic compounds, right, which are either lesser in number in the soil or amount, ज्याचा amount soil मध्ये कमी आहे किंवा soil मध्ये त्याचा पूर्णपणे absenceच आहे, असे जे मिनरल्स आहेत, अशा ज्या काय म्हणू आपण, असे जे न्यूट्रिएंट्स आहेत, जेव्हा एखादा ऑर्गॅनिझम इज ॲडिंग इट, राइट, इज ॲडिंग इट, और इफ इट इज ऑलरेडी प्रेझेंट त्याचा अमाउंट वाढवणार आहे, राइट, such organism or such a process is called as allogenic process. So that is the reason why they are called either they are adding it or they are increasing the quality or increasing the amount of these minerals. That is why they are referred to as allogenic engineers. Now, what is the thing is that enrichment of the organic matter is the result of the food choice of the earthworm. Now here we need to understand one concept, that is the earthworms, based on their species, their food is going to be different. You cannot use same earthworm with different types of soil, right? The species of the earthworms are going to differ. Now when the species of the earthworm are going to differ, it is obvious that their feeding habit is also going to differ. And even if it is not differing, there are chances that you are not performing this particular vermitechnology at a particular point, at a particular area, right? You are doing it in the various areas where the availability of the organic matter is going to differ. Okay, so in some places there are going to be different plants or animal waste will be different. In other areas there are going to be different organisms. So basically different kind of organic waste that you are providing the earthworms with, the output or the organic matter is going to differ, or whatever humus content it is going to give or vermicompost it is going to give, it is going to differ in the nutrients. कशामध्ये phosphorus जास्त असेल, कशामध्ये nitrogen जास्त असेल. So basically these things are going to change depending upon the type of species of earthworm that you are using and kind of food you are giving. Right? So basically you need to understand one thing. Whatever is going inside the body of the earthworm will be influenced by, first thing is enzymes, I have already spoken about it. Second thing is the microorganisms. And you need to understand this, that the microorganisms are going to be different at different localities. In different kind of soils, you are going to have different kind of different kind of microbes, right? So basically what organic matter you are giving or getting in the form of vermicompost is dependent upon the species of earthworm, depending upon the type of microbes that are present inside the soil and also in the digestive system or gut of the earthworm. So basically you need to understand this is a mutual relationship or mutual mutual relationship between the two things, three things actually. First is soil, second is earthworm, and the third one is going to be the microorganisms. So this particular thing where there is interaction between or mutual interaction between the soil and the earthworm, this is referred to as sleeping beauty paradox. Okay, so sleeping beauty paradox is mutual interaction between the earthworm, microbiota and the soil. So please keep this in mind, sleeping beauty paradox. Now, as I have already mentioned that whatever soil is passing through the gut of the earthworm is going to be definitely going to be under the influence of what kind of bacteria is present inside or what kind of microbes are present inside its digestive system. But what happens over here is that specific bacteria, specific bacterial communities will be activated because of the presence of earthworm also. So it is again reciprocal. Earthworm आहेत म्हणून काही टाइपच्या मायक्रोबियल कम्युनिटीज फ्लरिश करत आहेत आणि काही टाइपच्या मायक्रोबियल कम्युनिटीज आहेत म्हणून अर्थवर्मचं डायजेशन इफेक्टिवली होते. तर बेसिकली इथे होतं काय ना की what kind of micro environment you are considering. Micro environment म्हणजे काय की छोटंसं एन्व्हायरमेंट ज्याला आपण म्हणतो की I'll give you an example of this. Okay, so micro environment, one of the micro environment is gut of the earthworm. Okay, gut of the earthworm असेल किंवा cast of the earthworm again forms the second type of micro environment. The third type of environment is going to be what the soil is going to contain. Soil ला तर आपण micro environment म्हणणार नाही, right? So micro environment is then gut, whatever microbiota is going to be present, or the environment, not microbiota, living and non-living, everything that is present inside the gut will also be referred to as micro environment. जे कास्टिंग्स आहेत त्याला पण आपण मायक्रो एन्व्हायरमेंट म्हणू शकतो. तर कोणत्या मायक्रो एन्व्हायरमेंटला आपण कन्सिडर करतो इथे त्याच्यावर बऱ्याच गोष्टी डिपेंड करतात, राईट. एक गोष्ट लक्षात ठेवायची की अर्थवर्म नवीन मायक्रोब्स कुठून आणणार आहे, त्याला ते आणता येत नाही, ते जे काही सॉइल मध्ये आहे तोच ते वापरणार आहे. ओके, आणि सॉइलचं असं असतं की सॉइल मध्ये n नंबरचे मायक्रोबायोटा असते. ओके, जे अर्थवर्मला गरजेचे पण आहेत आणि जे अर्थवर्मला गरजेचे नाही. So here what happens is the earthworm is going to have many kind of effects. So it can have positive effect on the microbiota, it can have negative effect on the microbiota, it can have a neutral effect on the microbiota. Right? Soil चा जो microbiota आहे त्याच्यावर positive, negative किंवा neutral effect होऊ शकतो. तर पॉझिटिव्ह इफेक्ट म्हणजे काय होतं, कशामुळे होतो हा पॉझिटिव्ह इफेक्ट, तर जेव्हा earthworm is feeding or whatever is released in the form of cast, it also consists of the mucus. Okay, now this particular mucus is going to activate some of the microbes, right? Then it is going to inactivate certain microbes, and it may not have any effect on other kind of microbes. Okay, so the mucus and casting is going to have, as already discussed, positive, negative or neutral effect on the soil that is present. Okay, so now the commonly found some of the commonly found microbes are going to, or microbial communities are going to be Flavobacterium, then you have Actinobacteria, Vermitechnology is there, then Proteobacteria is there, and most importantly the genus Pseudomonas is going to be, or the species of Pseudomonas are going to be lot over here. Okay, so now see, when we talk about earthworm or the microbes that are present in earthworm also, and when we talk about the microbes that are present in soil also, some of them are going to be aerobic, some of them are going to be anaerobic. What are aerobic? Aerobic bacteria or aerobic organisms are the ones which are going to require oxygen for their metabolic activities. Okay, or they are going to require the presence of oxygen for their activities, and anaerobic are the organisms which do not require oxygen for their activities. So in absence of oxygen their activities are going to occur. So when we consider the microbiota is going to be anaerobic as well as aerobic. Let it be in the soil, let it be in the body of the earthworm. Okay, now what is aerobic? Aerobic organisms are the ones which require oxygen for their activities, right? And then you're going to have the anaerobic organisms which do not require oxygen for their activities. So generally what happens is, inside the gut of the earthworm you're going to have the anaerobic bacteria present. And for example, you have Proteobacteria, then you have Vermitechnology, then Bacteroidetes and Actinobacteria. These are some of the kind of bacteria that will be present, or which will be anaerobic bacteria, which are going to be present inside the gut of the earthworm. Okay, now these bacteria are going to bring about mineralization of carbon, nitrogen. They are basically going to bring about various processes that are required for the formation of the vermicompost. Now let's move on further. How this biotransformation can, and along with the earthworms, can be used in the detoxification process. Okay, now we know that because of the rapid industrial development, what has happened is there is lot of pollutants that are produced. Now these pollutants are generally released into the water bodies, they will be released into the soil, they will be released into the air. Okay, now we will be considering only the soil part. Why? Because we have to see the effect of the earthworms in the detoxification process of these pollutants. The earthworm has a potential role in pollutant detoxification, and it is going to bring it about by the process of biodegradation. Then it is going to bring it in the form of absorption, transformation, just biotransformation, and then bioaccumulation of these particular pollutants. Okay, so basically, if there are heavy metals, these heavy metals will be reduced by the bacteria that are present inside the body of the earthworm, or certain enzymes are going to act on these heavy metals, reducing it to the form which is more less hazardous, not more, less hazardous to the environment, and more cannot be beneficial but less hazardous. So there is presence of microplastic in this particular environment. This microplastic can be broken down, and there are going to be certain bacteria which consume this microplastic, and they form, or they take it as a source of carbon. Okay, so Firmicutes is an example of this particular bacteria which is going to metabolize the carbon which is available by degradation of these particular microplastic. And some of the examples of these microplastic are going to be polypropylene and then low density polyethylene. These are the examples of these microplastic. Moreover, there are going to be certain antibiotics that will be present in the soil. Now, how are these antibiotics entering the soil? See, in case of cattle, or if there is animal husbandry has been taken place in a particular area, right? So there is going to be cattle waste, right? Now, when we are commercially performing animal husbandry, we are definitely giving certain antibiotics to these organisms. The antibiotics may be given in order to increase the yield of the organism, increase the milk production, or keeping them safe from the diseases. So obviously, some part of it is going to get absorbed, right? And the other part, which is not absorbed, will be given out in the form of excreta, or it will be given out through the undigested food material. Now, this is going to add to the surrounding soil. Okay. Now, it means that these antibiotics have now entered the soil. The microbiota that is present inside the gut of the earthworm and the enzymes are also going to act on these antibiotics and break them down to the more safer forms. So in this way, biotransformation and vermitechnology are going to have a multifaceted use, right? For biodegradation also, for production of compost also, right? So the farmers can go a lot chemical free because of this vermicompost, right? So in summary, we can say that what we have learned today is the process of biotransformation, how the process of biotransformation has been exploited in the earthworm and its use has been made for vermicomposting and for biodegradation of these harmful chemicals, right? And we have also learned about the sleeping beauty paradox, which is nothing but the mutual interaction between these components. So the assignment for today is going to be, you are supposed to write about what is biotransformation, and the second question is, why are the earthworms called as allogenic engineers? We have discussed a lot about it. And thank you so much. In the next lecture, we will be learning about the techniques for decomposition of domestic and agricultural organic waste for vermicomposting. Thank you so much.